Okay, we're back on this beautiful Friday morning. All right, let's get into it. Talking about Trump's tax plan and more of the tomfoolery that's going on in 2024. On Talk Radio, live in 4K. For your use.
Let's go over the Trump tax plan because it's really interesting. And for those of you who are upset thinking your taxes have gone up under the Biden administration, I'll just remind you that we're still under the Trump tax plan because Republicans have blocked us from passing any new tax laws. So the plan is if you make $75,000 a year, your taxes will go up $1,800. If you make $100,000 a year, your taxes will go up $2,600. If you make $5 million a year, your taxes will go down $325,000 a year. He also cuts overtime pay, which is really helpful. And he cuts the Head Start program. Again, really helpful. So daycare costs will go up for lower income families and pretty much everybody across the board. Meanwhile, the Harris-Walz campaign wants to give a $6,000 credit to families with an infant and reinstate the child tax credit. So you tell me, who do you think is actually looking out for the middle class?
Yep, and this is who people want to be for. They want to be for Trump, and Trump is basically screwing over the middle class, especially people on welfare who are mostly white. That's what they don't tell you. Most people on welfare are white people. Okay. And this is going to get ugly, folks. This is going to I don't know what to tell you. I don't, because it's getting really ugly. The more you find out about Trump, the more you find out about what he's doing, uh, people are going like this, like the lingo says right now. It's screw around and find out. That's what's going on. Okay, and people are going to be hurt. It's going to come to a point where people are going to be like, you know what? They're finally going to have to say, you know what? I messed up. They're going to have to say that sooner or later, because it's really just, the pain hasn't set in yet. That's what I think it is. The pain has not set in yet, where people are just going to just scream out that Trump betrayed them. That's what I think it is. Here's a caller, okay? Um, that tried to blame everything on the Democrats, and this is what happened.
To get higher taxes. Kamala and Biden, we continue to get higher taxes, higher taxes.
Whose tax plan are we currently under right now?
25% of my paycheck goes to the government.
Whose tax
barely
plan
making
are we
any money.
currently under right now?
Biden and Kamala's. They've
No.
been passing.
We are under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act until January of 2025 when it expires. We are still under Trump's tax plan. So if you have an issue with your taxes currently, that should be brought up with Donald Trump, as we are under Donald Trump's tax plan.
Kamala tax plans.
We're not under Kamala's tax plan. We're not.
He just said we're under Trump's tax plan. He still want to go with Kamala. No.
We're under Biden's tax plan. Their tax plan wouldn't go into effect until 2025. So if you have an issue with your taxes, that's Donald Trump's fault. Yeah. I don't know if you know this. Donald Trump's tax plan was between 2018 and 2025.
The silence was so deafening. You could hear a pin drop, a literal pin drop. Now we're going to do something kind of boring. It's called reading and research. We're going to find out the 13 terrible things about Trump's tax plan. That's what we're going to do. If you're not someone that likes to hear reading, I don't know what to tell you. But we're getting into this. Here we are. 12 terrible things, 12 terrible things about Trump's GOP tax law. 1, give 83% of the tax cuts to the rich 1% by 2027. The richest 1% of taxpayers will get 1/5, 21% of the tax cuts in 2018. That grows to 83% by 2027 because they benefit most from the corporate tax cuts. The tax cuts for working families will have expired. The average tax cut for the top 1% will be $51,000 in 2018. The bottom 60% of taxpayers will get about $1 a day. All right. Number 2, raises taxes on 92 million middle-class families by 2027 to pay for tax breaks for the wealthy and corporations. That is more than 57% of all households making less than $200,000 a year. 69 million households making less than $100,000 a year would also pay more in taxes after temporary tax cuts for individuals expire. 3, increases healthcare premiums and leaves 13 million families without health coverage to pay for tax breaks that mostly benefit the wealthy and corporations. The law repeals a key part of the Affordable Care Act, the requirement for individuals to have health coverage if they can afford it. That saves $314 billion that is used to pay for tax cuts. This will lead to 13 million more people each year being uninsured and cause a 10% increase in health insurance premiums for people getting uninsured on the individual market. 4, provides a permanent tax cut to corporations, but a temporary tax cut for individuals and families. The corporate tax rate is slashed from 35% to 21%, and the corporate alternative minimum tax is eliminated. Tax cuts that benefits working families will expire after 2025. However, one individual tax provision that was made permanent slows down the inflation adjustment for tax brackets, resulting in growing tax increases over time. 5, adds 1.5 to 2.2 trillion to the national debt, jeopardizing critical services. The law includes at least 1.5 trillion in tax cuts that are not paid for, such as by closing loopholes used by the wealthy and corporations, because the law contains several budget gimmicks that obscure the true cost of the tax cuts. The cost could be as much as 2.2 trillion. This will balloon the national debt and further endanger funding for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, public education, and more. 6, prioritizing the wealthy taxpayers over working families with children. The law lowers the top individual tax rate from 39.6% to 37%, giving more tax cuts to the richest 518,000 households. The GOP chose not to fully adjust changes in the child tax credit so that some 24 million children in working families could fully benefit. Both changes could cost roughly the same, $80 billion over 10 years. 7, prioritizes wealthy business owners and real estate developers like Donald Trump. They get a net of $265 billion tax cut from a new 20% deduction for pass-through business income, combined with a tightening of rules on losses applied to the new 37% top individual tax rate. This 20% deduction on business income will drop the top pass-through business tax from 39.6% to 29.6%. More than 80% of this tax cut will go to the top 5% in 2019. Trump owns more than 500 pass-throughs. Pass-through owners, which include sole proprietorships, partnerships, LLCs, and S corporations, pay taxes due on their businesses' income on their personal returns at individual rates. 8. Kills American jobs by encouraging outsourcing and profit shifting. The law creates a territorial tax system which exempts a large share of the foreign profits of U.S. corporations from U.S. taxes and taxes the remainder at half the rate of domestic profits. The law will give U.S. multinationals even more tax incentives to outsource jobs and move investments offshore. 9. Hands a $400 billion tax cut to offshore tax dodgers. American corporations have $2.6 trillion in profits stashed offshore, on which they owe $750 billion in U.S. taxes. Rather than make them pay what they owe, like all the rest of us do, the law will charge them only $339 billion over a $400 billion discount. Apple will save $40 billion, and Microsoft is likely to save $25 billion. 10. Limits the federal deduction for state and local taxes. SALT, hurting the middle class. The law caps at $10,000 the amount of the state and local property and income or sales taxes that can be deducted from federal taxable income. This is one of the reasons that nearly 8 million families will see tax increases in 2018. The impact of this change will be felt especially in 20 states that claim an average SALT deduction of more than $10,000. Limiting SALT will put pressure on state and local budgets, like forcing cuts to education, healthcare, and infrastructure. 11. Lets many wealthy heirs avoid paying estate tax. The estate tax is substantially weakened, losing $83 billion and allowing very rich families to inherit wealth tax-free. Under prior law, the tax only applies to estates worth over $5.5 million per person, or $11 million per couple, about 5,500 estates. Under the new law, only estates worth at least $11 million per person, or $22 million per couple, about 1,800 estates, would pay the tax. 12. Finally, enriches President Trump and his family, in addition to cutting the top individual income tax rate and creating a tax break for income from pass-through business entities, which Trump owns 500. The law preserves the many existing tax loopholes for real estate investors and even creates a new one. The law exempts real estate owners from a provision meant to limit abuse of the new pass-through income deduction. Trump's exact tax savings are difficult to estimate since he has refused to release his tax returns, unlike every other president over the last 40 years. But it is likely to be at least $11 million a year and perhaps as much as $22 million. Wow. And he's allowed to get away with this. This is something that is, what can I say? The fact he's allowed to do these things shows that, hey, he's put on a mission. He's put on a mission, and that mission is basically to destroy this country. He's getting away with things that no other president would be able to get away with. So let's talk about Elon Musk's mom and what she has to say to the masses, which is pretty much insane.
And you were recently getting a lot of attention because there was a comedian online who said, listen, I get it. People don't want to have, they're talking about the birth rate, which your son talks a lot about it declining and the problems for humanity with that. And you said to his response about it being too expensive to have kids, you said, that's not the way to think about this. Explain.
Well, you know, when I had my children, we were in a two-bedroom small apartment overlooking a garage. And then the next year, I have the second child, we had an apartment with a view. And then by the third child, we could get a two-bedroom house. And you just, you know, as you move on, you start doing better and better. But people, you know, you don't have to go to the movies. You don't have to go out for dinner. You can just spend time with the most wonderful gifts you can ever have.
Okay, what she doesn't understand is you, ma'am, grew up in South Africa in the time of apartheid, and your husband, stole an emerald mine and forced Africans to work, there at gunpoint. All right. To fund your lifestyle, ma'am. What are you talking about? You had a place with a view. People who are the average people working in America, the working class, don't some of us don't have an apartment with a view and wants you to have babies to break the budget to be worker drones for your son's companies, especially his company town that he's trying to build in Texas. You could see where the out of touch, no empathy having, soulless comment, the personality he has to say things about when he was interviewed with Don Lemon about, oh, what is racism? We shouldn't talk about it. What privileges do I have with my color of skin? I'm like, wow. And this is how whites, racist whites would act, especially on the Republican Party. How do you act? Oh, racism doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about. What's white privilege? What is white privilege? Yeah. The gaslighting. The gaslighting is sick. It's just absolutely sick. All right. But it gets worse. It gets worse because this is what Elon Musk has to say. Okay. About, what he claims about the homeless. Like I said, who is his PR agent? Who is Elon Musk's PR agent? That's what I'd like to know. Who tells him what to say, what not to say? I don't even. You know what I think it is? He probably fired that person because they were making too much sense, and his ego couldn't handle it. Let's talk. Let's see what was said.
Unhoused people here in the United States continues. This time, the attack is coming from the richest man on the planet, none other than Elon Musk himself. According to Elon Musk, what he put on social media on December 10th, so just a couple days ago, Elon Musk said this: the Save the Homeless NGOs, non-governmental organizations, are often paid according to how many homeless people are on the streets, thus creating a strong financial incentive for them to maximize the number of homeless people and never actually solve the problem. The more homeless there are, the more money these organizations get, so their incentives is to increase, not decrease, homelessness. He actually said that last part in September. The other part was from December 10th. So, according to Elon Musk, these groups out there like, we got to save the homeless people, are somehow creating more homelessness. That is a new one. But you know what else is a new thing I've never heard is from an interview that Elon Musk did with Tucker Carlson back in October, where Musk said this: homeless is a misnomer. It implies that someone got a little bit behind on their mortgage, and if you just gave them a job, they'd be back on their feet. What you actually have are violent drug zombies with dead eyes and needles and human feces on the street. He said that the word homeless is a lie and a, quote, propaganda word. Homelessness is a lie. And every single unhoused person in this country, apparently, according to Elon Musk's statement, it's because you're on drugs. So if you see somebody on the street that doesn't have a home to go to, Elon Musk thinks that it is 100% because this person's on drugs. And by the way, Elon Musk is not the only billionaire out there screaming about how horrible unhoused people are. Other billionaires, according to the report, influential billionaires and right-wing think tanks have been advancing legislation that criminalizes homelessness in Congress and at the Supreme Court, and they all share this backwards, incorrect view that if we punish people enough, they will choose not to be poor. In January of 2023, the last year for which the full data is available, more than 650,000 people were experiencing homelessness on a single night in the U.S., marking a 12% increase from 2022 and the most ever recorded by the Department of Housing and Urban Development in nearly 20 years. Nearly 3 out of every 10 people experiencing homelessness are part of a family with children, and 17% of all unhoused people were children under the age of 18. 17% of kids, right? Those aren't drug addicts. And let's be real here. Substance abuse can lead to homelessness. However, it's not even in the top 3 causes of homelessness here in the United States. In fact, it is number 5. According to a survey by the U.S. Conference of Mayors, major cities across the country report that top causes of homelessness among families were number 1, lack of affordable housing. Number 2, unemployment. Number 3, poverty. Number 4, low wages. And way down at number 5, substance abuse and the lack of needed circumstances. Furthermore, 15% of unhoused people in the United States are victims of domestic violence. These are not drug users. These are victims of very unfortunate circumstances.
That's basically it. And the way he grew up in South Africa with apartheid, where white is right, okay, he grew up in so entitled, so no empathy, no sense of reason. Grew up with a father who has impregnated both his stepdaughters, both. Feeling he could do whatever he wants because he had money. It's like Trump. You have money overflowing, and you have never known struggle. You have never known correction. You have never known what it's like to go without. You know what it's like to go to bed without eating dinner on more than one night. You don't know what it's like to choose what bill to pay and what bill you're going to do without. Choosing whether you're going to pay for groceries or you're going to pay for your light bill. He does not know that, and it's to an extreme, such a gross extreme with being grown up in apartheid South Africa, that he's detached from all reality. And that's why him and Trump get along so well, because he grew up rich as well, to the point where, you know, he thinks blacks are lazy. He says that blacks can't help it. Okay. This is why they're 2 peas in a pod. Both of them brag about how, you know, Trump praises Elon for firing people. Okay.
Victims of a system designed to hold them down. Let me read you this. A full-time worker earning minimum wage, full-time 40 hours a week, but you're making minimum wage, cannot afford to rent a 2-bedroom home at market rate anywhere in the country. An hourly wage worker would need to make at least $15 an hour working for 104 hours a week to afford an average 1-bedroom home at fair market rent.
All right, this is the thing. People have to understand that minimum wage is minimum wage, right? And people will get mad at me on the left, but minimum wage is not meant for you to be on there forever. It's not. In life, you have to go get a skill, a better job, or work 2 jobs to survive. Okay? That's it. People will get mad. You can't survive. You can't be flipping burgers and expect to have someone house you. I mean, you could possibly apply for public housing if you can get public housing, depending on the state that you're at. But the reality is that you cannot stay minimum wage and expect to get a home. You're going to have to work 2 jobs. You're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to get a skill. And if you don't, this is what it is. This is what it is. And a lot of people, I think, have forgotten that when it comes to the Democrat side. And when you try to tell them these things, they look at you like you're heartless or you're cruel. And you're not. It's not about being heartless. This is life. You cannot live. It's like people living on Section 8. They expect to live on that forever when Section 8 is really it's just a stepping stone. You're not supposed to be there forever. It's public housing. The government owns it. One policy, one flick of the pen, and you're homeless. Look what's happening now. Project 2025. They're coming to take away public assistance now. And you have people like Trump and Elon Musk that don't care because they've never struggled.
That's not a drug problem. That's a capitalism problem. That's a wage problem. That is a housing crisis. There are more vacant, empty homes here in the United States than there are unhoused people. If Elon Musk is so concerned about all of these people out on the streets thinking that they're all deranged people, you have enough money to send each and every one of them to a rehab facility. I'm pretty sure you could get a good rate too if you're sending that many.
Problem is with rehab, people have to want to go to rehab and have to want to commit to staying in rehab. These are the problems with the left, okay? I have my issues with the right, but I also got my problems with the left. And the right will tell you one half truth. The left will also do the same. Let me tell you an example. With the right, okay? The right, when it comes to abortion, right? They would be like, no, abortion is murder. It's horrible, it's horrible, it's horrible. Okay, you're for pro-life, right? Yeah, pro-life. Yeah, the way God intended it. Yeah. Now, you do know these people who are having babies, right? They're not, some of them are not right in the head. Some of them come from broken homes. Some of them are mentally ill. Are you going to help have public assistance for them? A way for them to go to school, a way for them to get therapy. We don't know what they have gone through, these women. And you want them to give birth and take care of another living, breathing human being. Okay. Will you have a bill for public assistance that they can stay on for a certain short period of time? They have a time limit, and also a bill for counseling and therapy for these single mothers, for these future mothers to be, who are probably may have grown up in an abusive home, who have probably grown up with child abuse, suffered all types of horror. Okay. Maybe these women are DV victims and now they are pregnant and they're carrying their abuser's seed. Will you set up some bills that will help them to get a head start in life, a short-term period on public assistance, so they can have a happy life, a healthy mind to be able to raise their offspring? No, I don't feel like giving out handouts. Seriously? Seriously? This is what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to go with the left. Okay. Yeah, man, rent's too high, and I'm working this job and it's not enough to live on. Okay, but sir, you can't live forever flipping burgers. Okay, I'm sorry, you cannot be working at McDonald's flipping burgers and you're stating it pays $15 an hour and you expect to live in a home. You're going to have to hustle, sir. Oh my gosh, this is capitalism. I can't believe you're saying this. No, sir. It's the fact of the matter is the jobs that you work at minimum wage are really for young people and people in high school, or people who are just going to college. A 19-year-old who's, fresh out of high school, going to college. If you are like 26, 25, 30, 40, working these type of jobs, then, sir, you're going to have to bust your butt, work 2 jobs, and get a skill, sir, in order to be able to put a roof over your head. This is the cold, hard truth. I don't want to talk to you. You're a fascist. You see how I just described both parties? How both parties are just full of it? Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I am pro-choice, but I am not. I am against abortion, but I am pro-choice. I understand that women have to choose for themselves. Okay? They have to make that choice. Okay? And deal with whatever comes out of it. That's what I understand. Okay? But we're going to go more into this. We're going to be talking about more stuff about Elon Musk. But let me show you some clips of Elon Musk. Just show you that I'm not just putting up some person here putting up propaganda. That he didn't say that. How do we know Elon Musk didn't say that? How do we know that he said that? Because Elon Musk is the greatest. I know. I mean, I have a Tesla. He's the greatest. Let's take a look. This is what he says. Let me see. Oh, yep. Yeah. Here we go. Vote love, not hate. Musk, whose net worth recently tipped over 400 billion, claimed homelessness is a lie on X, arguing that the word is used to describe violent drug addicts and people with severe mental illness. Yeah. Okay. Here's what Kelly D says. Musk says there are no actual homeless people. This guy is a danger to all of us. Redheaded libertarian. Homelessness is a misnomer. It implies that someone got a little behind on their mortgage, and if you just offered them a job, they'd be back on their feet. When you go to any of these downtowns, what you actually have are violent drug zombies. Elon Musk. Oh, gosh. Here's what CDR Keith Lee Phillips says. Comrade Elon Musk. Remember, they said this comrade stuff about Kamala Harris is will to write off 500,000 homeless people. After all, he's the number one richest man who lives on Earth, to where the rich live. Elon Musk did say the word homeless is a lie. Yep. In most cases, the word homeless is a lie. Elon Musk did say this is usually a propaganda word for violent drug addicts with severe mental illness. Yeah, man. This. Oh, whoa. Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, yep. Leopards eating your faces, guys. Leopard eating your faces. All right. Let's see where I'm going now. Oh, yep. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh boy, I mean I don't know how people do it, man. I mean, I could imagine the fights that goes on between Elon's camp and Trump's camp. I could imagine the fights. You got and the workers who have to probably witness it too. Oh man. All right, here we are. All right, we're going to be talking about this government shutdown. Here we are. Breaking news, Trump having to control Elon Musk from government shutdown.
All right, Trumpers, come and get me. Here we go. Donald Trump cannot control his herd in Washington. Look, we're talking about a government shutdown again, and Elon Musk is trying to run the show. Elon is wanting this government shutdown and thinking he has it. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have to come out and say, no, we're not going to have a government shutdown. We need to fund the government. Elon is over here saying, no, this is over with. We're going to shut it down. Take a listen, you MAGA lovers. This is the people that he puts in charge. Here we go.
Says he wants a shutdown. It's not going to hurt him. There's hundreds of billions of dollars. He's already declaring victory on Twitter, posting, your elected representatives have heard you. Oh, yeah, us. And now the terrible bill is dead, says the billionaire. The voice.
Just a shit show in Washington. This is the most disgusting shit I've ever seen in my life. It is a clown running a circus. And these are the people that you Trump freakers wanted in Washington that don't know what the shit they're doing. A government shutdown again. Donald Trump already had the government shutdown one time while he was in office, back in December when he was in there. And from 2016 to 2020. And now we're talking about another one. And the clown he's got running this Doge is wanting to shut it down and thinking he does. And then Donald Trump has to come out and save his ass and say, no. You MAGA freaks got to get it together.
It's just, it's insane, man. It's just, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And I don't know what's it going to take. I mean, you're seeing Trump embarrass you right before your eyes. And Elon, I don't know what to say. He's unhinged. It's just embarrassing to see him. You remember when he was there with Trump? He was like, fight, 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 and just jumping up like a little toddler. Is that how a person is supposed to conduct himself who's supposed to be a billionaire? Hmm? I remember when he had to do that walk. He had to do that walk of shame in Israel because he let a white supremacist speak out of pocket about Israel. And then he did that interview, and a guy who was his friend, who's supposed to be his friend, but it wasn't his friend because, how do I say this? They stick together. They stick together. They don't play around. And Elon touched a button he had no business touching. Okay. And he just looked like a total buffoon. And you're seeing that. And sometimes, when people say that this man has never invented anything in his life, I may be starting to believe that, because he doesn't have the character that matches the things that he backs. The character doesn't match. He's acting very uncouth, very uncivilized, very immature. Let's just get back to this. Government shutdown looms as planned, backed by Trump. Elect fails in Congress. Let's get into it.
Trying to escape a federal government shutdown ahead of the
is not passed.
Trying to escape a federal government shutdown ahead of the holidays, Congress instead slammed into a dead end.
We will regroup and we will come up with another solution.
After President-elect Trump and billionaire Elon Musk, who's been tasked with cutting government spending, blew up a compromise plan both parties supported to keep the government open. House Republicans tried a different plan last night, less expensive, still including billions of dollars in disaster aid for hurricane-devastated communities, but cutting priorities for Democrats, including health programs. And the new bill included Trump's demand to raise the nation's debt ceiling for 2 years before he even takes office. Trump championed the proposal as a success and good deal on social media. But the bill fell far short, with dozens of Republican members not on board.
Not going to go vote for another debt ceiling increase without actual specifics on what the cuts will be. That's a non-starter for me.
And Democrats, almost all, opposed.
The Musk-Johnson proposal is not serious. It's laughable.
It's just horrific that they have thrust us into this kind of chaos already.
As the clock ticks down, it's federal workers who may end up paying the price.
It brings on anxiety, especially during this time of year.
Aaron Barker works for the TSA and is a union rep at Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport.
We are definitely praying and hoping, fingers, toes, whatever you can cross, that it does not happen.
And he warns even though TSA officers are essential employees and remain on the job, there could be shortages if some don't show.
It could be very bad if it gets to a point where TSA workers have to choose between, am I going to feed my children, put gas in my car, or come to work because they're without a paycheck? That's definitely going to affect the way that passengers travel throughout the nation.
I don't know what to tell you, man. People have to learn to start growing their own food, starting a barter system, start learning to trade. Okay, I got, some turnips. What do you got? I got some eggs. Okay, cool. Hey, I have a garden here. You want to trade some fruits and vegetables and stuff like that? try to build a relationship, start forming communities, networking. Um, hey, start buying some chickens. Buy some chickens, start building a coop. I don't care how ridiculous it sounds. It's time for people to start uh, learning how to fend for themselves, come up with brainstorming. We have TikTok, we have YouTube. Start investing in that, looking how to build a chicken coop. How much is a chicken? How much are two chickens? Um, how to plant food indoors. There are videos about that. Learning how to survive and grow your own food and how to feed yourself. Okay, because we are seeing what's going on. Okay, we have Project 2025. We need to be more proactive and stop looking to politicians. Definitely stop looking to Trump to solve our problems, because things are getting worse. And you will see what I will be talking about very soon. Okay. Let's get into the Matt Gaetz ethics report now.
Time, I do want to take you out to some breaking news that we are following just coming in from Fox News here. It's an issue, a topic that we have been discussing for a while now. This is a post from Chad Pergram, who says that Fox now confirms that the House Ethics Committee has voted to release the Matt Gaetz ethics report after the final votes of the year. Here is the latest information as the House Ethics Committee decided to release that report. Lawmakers on the secretive panel voted to make the report public after the final votes of the year, which are slated for tomorrow. Now, Chad Pergram, again, is the senior congressional correspondent for Fox News. He joins us frequently right here on Live Now from Fox. If you're not too familiar with how all of this has played out over the past several weeks and really months here, earlier this month, the House actually shut down Democrats' efforts to release the long-awaited ethics report into Gaetz, pushing the fate of any resolution to the years-long investigation of sexual misconduct allegations into further uncertainty. The nearly party-line votes came after Democrats had been pressing for the findings to be published, even though the Florida Republican left Congress and withdrew as President-elect Donald Trump's nominee for Attorney General. Representative Tom McClintock, a Republican from California, was the sole Republican that voted to support that effort. Again, that was earlier this month. Most Republicans have argued that any congressional probe into Gaetz ended when he resigned from the House. Speaker Mike Johnson also requested that the committee not publish its report, saying that it would be a terrible precedent to set. While ethics reports have previously been released after a member's resignation, it is fairly rare that it happens. This is all the culmination of weeks of pressure on the Ethics Committee's 5 Republicans and 5 Democrats who mostly work in secret as they investigate allegations of misconduct against lawmakers. The status of the Gaetz investigation became kind of an open question last month when he abruptly resigned from Congress after Trump's announcement that he wanted his ally in the cabinet. It is standard practice for the committee to end investigations when members of Congress depart, but the circumstances surrounding Gaetz were unusual given his potential role in the new administration. Now, we know he was the pick for Trump's attorney general. However, he did back out a little bit later on after there were questions about whether or not the Senate would confirm him in that position.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know why he would even pick him. I mean, this just shows how Trump lacks any type of, I guess, common sense because he just wants yes men with him. And you can't do that. Even in a dictatorship, you can't do that. You have to have some people that are competent and have, won't, their actions won't bite you in the butt down the road when you're trying to run a dictatorship. All right, that's how usually things fall apart in your crew if you pick people that really don't have any moral scruples or lack self-control. Let's get into the drones. You won't believe this. You will not believe this.
First drones and now nukes in New Jersey. I really want to go back to regular New Jersey where I just have traffic, nasty smells out of North Jersey, and like condoms washing up on the ocean. Why can't I go back to that? Now, every night I look up, I got drones swarming the sky like Bill Gates' mosquitoes got tech upgrades. You know, those fucking sons of bitches are going to be on sale at Wawa next week. But this is what we're dealing with. And now they tell us, hey, guess what? You're so stupid that we were transporting nukes. We got just across New Jersey. And they happen to, they leak a little bit. So, we lost it. And the drones that are flying over the top.
They didn't lose it. That was done on purpose. That was done on purpose. They did not lose it. It was done on purpose. They're trying to delete us.
You're really trying to find all the leaky residue that this nuclear bomb, just set off. And everyone's still looking up and going, hey, drones. Now, let's just put something aside. Number one, it was medical grade nukes or medical grade nuclear material for some stuff. And it's been found. So that theory, you could squash that theory. But I love watching everybody go, oh my God, nukes, nukes, nukes. And not really care that they were, they said they were doing all these things. And we're still focused on drones where it's like, hold on. You're telling me that you were transporting nukes with leaky material that you're trying to spot only at night from the sky? And I'm supposed to accept this like that's acceptable? Nobody cares that you, A, we're transporting leaky nukes, and B, lost them. That is a more you would rather say that to the American people than what are actually up in the sky. This is how dumb they think you are. And the saddest part is I don't hear anybody asking, like, wait a minute, you are transporting nukes that leave nuclear residue throughout the state of New Jersey?
Because, like I said, they are trying to delete us. The smog didn't work. Other things a couple of years back didn't work. Okay? So they're doing this. Get the story. Here we go. Just let it come up here. Come on. Why does this do this? I don't get it. Come on. I'm trying to get this story right here. New York Post. Here we go. All right. Let me get the other story I got here. Telling us about it. All right. So you know what? I'm just going to read the article. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to read the article. I don't know what's going on here. Missing radioactive material in New Jersey sparks drone theories. They're looking for something, mayor says. A New Jersey mayor warned Tuesday that the troubling drone sightings over the state may be linked to missing radioactive material, although federal officials say the amount poses no serious threat either way. I don't believe that. Belleville Mayor Michael Melham said the drones flying in a grid-like pattern over his Essex County township appeared to be looking for something. What might they be looking for? Maybe that's radioactive material, Melham told Fox TV Good Day New York. It was a shipment. It arrived at its destination. The container was damaged and it was empty, Melham said. The U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission issued an alert earlier this week regarding a piece of medical equipment used for cancer scans that was lost in transit December 2nd while being shipped from Nazha Cancer Center in Newsfield in Gloucester County in southern New Jersey. The device, an Eckert and Ziegler model HEGL-0132, was to be properly discarded, but its shipping container arrived at its destination damaged and empty, the agency said. The item, known as pin source, contains a tiny amount of radioactive chemical germanium-68, which is used in PET scanners to calibrate accuracy. The radiation source is deemed less than a Category 3 on the International Atomic Energy Agency scale, which means it's very unlikely to cause permanent injury to individuals or contain a very small amount of radioactive material that could not cause any permanent injury. News of the missing equipment caused alarm on social media, with some netizens speculating that the enigmatic drones patrolling New Jersey skies are frantically scurrying the area for radioactive waste. The unfolded theory was propagated by John Ferguson, CEO of Remote Aircraft System Company in Kansas, who claimed 3 million times on X that the drones are trying to smell a gas leak, radioactive material, or something else. The only reason why you will never fly an unmanned aircraft at night is if you're looking for something, Ferguson said in a clip, noting he doesn't believe the drones are a threat to the public. Okay. Here's what we know about the mysterious drones hovering over the East Coast. 1, the drones first made headlines. A medical helicopter was forced to turn around. The Biden administration brushed off the drones, claiming most sightings were planes and helicopters mistaken for drones. New Jersey Rep. Jeff Van Drew suggested that the drones were coming from an Iranian mothership. The Pentagon denied the drones were from Iran or any other adversary. A heat map shows the staggering number of sightings over New Jersey County. Experts say there are only a few possible explanations for the drone sightings. Okay. The idea gained further traction when podcast king Joe Rogan said Ferguson's clip left him very concerned about the drone situation. Tri-state residents and lawmakers have been fuming over the lack of explanation from federal government over the alarming drone sightings, which have been reported for a month now. The FBI said in a joint statement with other federal security agencies last Monday that more than 5,000 tips have been reported in just in the past few weeks about the alleged drone sightings. Thousands of tips have led to roughly 100 leads, prompting further investigation, the group said. But having closely examined the technical data and tips from concerned citizens, we assess that the sightings to date include a combination of lawful commercial drones, hobbyist drones, and law enforcement drones, as well as manned fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, and stars mistakenly reported as drones, the joint statement said. That said, we recognize that the concern among many communities. We continue to support state and local authorities with advanced detection technology and support of law enforcement. The Biden administration has repeatedly downplayed the situation. The White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said the drones are not a public safety concern, that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI announced Monday that they are blatantly deploying drone detection technology and infrared cameras to determine what, if any, threat the unidentified flying objects pose. All right. Oh, finally it works. All right. Okay. All right, as we go further. All right. We'll see what's on Second. Okay, we're going on. We're going to look up more about the drones. Okay. We'll get more information. All right. I have a source. I have an article, a video. All right. Talk about this. Give me a minute. 1 second. I have to mute. All right, we're back. Let's get into it.
Now, why are mysterious drones flying over New Jersey? If you haven't seen the footage, guys, it's been pretty wild. You've got news reporters going down there thinking it's all just going to be some conspiracy theory nonsense, only to find out it's all very, very real. This guy says, I got to be honest here. You know, when this story first came out a few weeks ago, I didn't pay much credence. The experience I had last night, however, changed the way I feel about this story completely. What I saw was more sophisticated than I ever imagined. We've been looking at this for the past hour. I think we've seen about 40 or 50 of these drones. One of their officers called 911 after seeing 50 of them come off of the ocean. And there's bizarre footage like this clip coming out showing the ocean in New Jersey with what appears to be drones flying directly into the ocean. Again, lots of strange stuff coming out, guys. There's all kinds of footage like this and much more that we're going to take a look at in this interview. But meanwhile, in this video, but while all this is happening, you've got the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security here just claiming that there's nothing to see here, nothing to worry about. These are not nefarious. They pose no kind of threat here. He even said that these drone concerns and claims that, there's nothing to concern here. And he's just claiming they're just likely, store-bought drones. So just nothing to see here, folks. Meanwhile, you got the president-elect.
Store-bought drones. These drones are also been said to be the size of cars, not store-bought drones.
Suggesting that you shoot them down. Trump demands action on these New Jersey drone sightings. He said this on Truth Social: mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Let the public know, and now, otherwise, shoot them down. Donald J. Trump says. You've got mysterious drones shutting down runways of New York airports. Drone activity in New York has shut down the runways at Stewart Airfield, the governor says. By the way, there was also reports of a bird flying into a plane engine, and there's footage of this, and there's claims that this was not a bird. And if you look at the footage and you slow it down, it indeed does look like it could have been one of these drones instead of one of, what they claim that it is, which they say it was just a bird. You've also got Elon Musk chiming in on this way back as far as last year. But in this tweet, somebody says, rest easy, 20,000 drones per day. It would take China 50 years to make one drone for every living American. And Musk chimes in saying, drone swarm battles are coming that will boggle the mind. In fact, it's not the only time he said this. Back in January of 2023, he said the drone wars are already a big deal, but we ain't seen nothing yet. On September 29th, he says,
how does Elon Musk know about this? How does he know that we haven't seen nothing yet? Why isn't anybody arresting Elon Musk? Why isn't he being, why isn't the FBI banging on his door? Excuse me, what do you know about these drones? Of course, he's a billionaire, so he could be above the law.
Epic drone wars are coming. And the following day, he said drone swarm battles are coming that will boggle the mind. Again, it begs the question, what does he know here? And what exactly was he alluding to? Well, could this be the cause of the drone uproar? The FAA Reauthorization Act of 2018 expires on December 20th, guys. The replacement being pushed is a bigger grab at taking our freedoms. That's right, the FAA Reauthorization Act expires on the 20th of this year, so the federal government is literally using a terrorism drone mystery psyop against you to manipulate Congress into passing this new H.R. 8060, which will include appropriations and enhanced government powers to control you. And they're even going as far as to use it to push for acts of war against other countries, guys. Here it is, H.R. 8610, Counter UAS Authority, Security, Safety, and Reauthorization Act, which was just introduced conveniently as all of this is happening right now in New Jersey. This New Jersey drone invasion is just in time for Congress to reauthorize this Orwellian law. So we're going to take a very close look at this in this video, guys. But just before we do, I'd ask that you check me out here at or here. If I were to visit Jersey right now, this is probably what I would be doing. Of course, I'm just joking, but I mean, this is how people in New Jersey feel right now. And I mean, rightly so, because let's take a quick look at this ABC News piece that shows some of the footage that's coming out, and I think you'll agree there's something pretty wild going on here.
A mystery in the skies.
7 right here. What the heck?
States across the Northeast reporting swarms of suspected drones appearing with no explanation.
They're just pacing back and forth, going very slow.
Hovering around densely populated residential areas, sensitive military installations, and even President-elect Trump's Bedminster Golf Club, where he lives.
This is the 12th drone that has come by from the same spot. There it is.
Some residents spooked.
These are big. You know, they're the size of small cars.
Officials in New Jersey demanding action from federal authorities, meeting with Homeland Security earlier this week.
It scares the bejesus out of me. You have to tell me, in this day and age, 2024, that somebody can be flying drones over northern New Jersey and we have no clue who it is, where they're coming from, or where they're landing? That's unacceptable.
Obviously. A New Jersey legislator also in that meeting posting on X that the drones appear much larger than typical hobby drones, in some cases up to 6 feet. They often fly with their lights off, making...
All right. That's what I'll leave for now.
This here.
Okay. That's what I will leave that there for now. I will go now and talk about the collapse of Germany and France. We're going to be talking about that now. Let's get into that. It's not just getting real over here in America, it's getting real in France.
French government has collapsed after a no confidence vote in Parliament.
Pour l'adoption 331.
Here are 3 things that happened next. 1. As Prime Minister Michel Barnier handed in his resignation today, President Macron will now hunt for a replacement. Meanwhile, Michel Barnier will stay on as caretaker PM. Finding a replacement who can win enough support will not be easy. French politics is now split between the hard left New Popular Front and Marine Le Pen's far right. Macron's MPs are caught in the middle, and no one group has a majority. 2. French MPs will need to rush through an emergency budget before the end of the year.
Sounds like what's going on in America with Washington, with what's going on with this government shutdown here.
Payer chaque année 60 milliards d'intérêts, c'est davantage que le budget de notre défense ou de notre enseignement supérieur, et sans doute encore davantage demain si nous ne faisions rien.
The French public debt is running at 6%. That's double the EU limit, designed to keep the euro stable. Sooner or later, it will have to get that under control. 3. France has to put on a good show to celebrate the renovation of Notre Dame Cathedral 5 years after a major fire. Donald Trump will also be jetting into Paris on Saturday in his first overseas trip since getting re-elected.
This is insane stuff, man. Putting on a show? Things are falling apart. Who cares about a show? Be honest and tell the truth what's going on so people can prepare. That's what I say. But people can't be honest. That's why we have content creators telling the truth.
There's this thing that I would like to talk about.
Talking about Germany's collapse now.
Like to talk about the collapse of the European Union. Yeah, I won't make that analysis myself because I think there are people who are researching on this who could bring to you more than even myself. So, but I would like to say something. Do you guys know that the European Union has collapsed or is collapsing? Let me just say, it's collapsing bit by bit, and now perhaps it has finally collapsed. Well, why I say so is because European Union is collapsing. Perhaps in months to come or in years to come, we will no longer hear about the European Union. And their loyalty to the Americans is what is destroying the European Union. I think the United Kingdom saw this coming, and that was why they left the European Union. And now I think wheresoever they are, they could be smiling. They will be smiling by now to what is happening to Europe. Because it's a very, very sad story. Very, very sad story. We never expected something like this to happen to Europe, but we have seen it happening to Europe. You know, this formation years ago of NATO, you know, you see America is a criminal. America is a criminal, but you are not going to hear this. You're not going to hear more of this. But it's just that European countries, European leaders are now in loggerheads. They no longer agree in so many things because they have failed during the corona crisis, the COVID-19 crisis. They failed also in the Russian-Ukraine war because this war was not planned. This war was not supposed to happen. But America pushed Europe into this war. America pushed Europe into this war because they wanted Europe. They wanted Europe not to be buying gas again from Russia, from the Russians, but to be buying gas from the Americans. However, the thing is, finally, Europe is now buying gas from America, 40 times what they used to buy from the Russians. As I said, you're not going to hear this from my mouth. Please watch this short clip.
Power off.
When U.S. President Joe Biden traveled to Germany last month, something remarkable happened. Biden was awarded the Order of Merit, one of Germany's most prestigious honors, for his extraordinary contributions to the country. German officials celebrated Biden for his leadership in fighting against Russia and praised him for strengthening Europe's security and democracy. But what if I told you all of this is false? Germany is now facing one of the country's largest economic and political crises, and shockingly, almost every problem Germany now faces can be tied back to poor decisions made from its relationship with the U.S. government. Germany's enthusiastic commitment to the war in Ukraine, coupled with its crumbling industrial base, energy insecurity, and deteriorating relationship with China, has left the one...
I feel bad for the German citizens. I can't feel bad for the German government. It's very You guys working with neo-Nazis, you working with the US government to help support neo-Nazis, a corrupt dictator, a government that's into child trafficking and illegal arms and illegal organ harvesting, pedophile ring. You know, I just like, and Germany also has their roots with World War II and the, with the funny mustache man. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel sorry for the German citizens who probably looked at Germany and the German prime minister be like, "What are you doing?" Okay, we already had a bad rap for the mustache man, back in the day. Why you want to support this and fight the people who want to follow the mustache man's ideologies? Why? Stay out of this and let's focus on Germany. I mean, Germany was giving out the weapons to the point that they didn't even have it. They were running out.
Once mighty economic powerhouse fighting for survival. To make matters worse, just 2 weeks after his visit to Germany, Biden greenlit Ukraine's use of U.S. missiles to strike inside Russia, escalating the conflict and introducing one of the gravest security threats Europe has faced in decades. In today's video, we'll explore the rise and fall of the once powerhouse German economy. We'll show you how the war in Ukraine has decimated German manufacturing, but most importantly, we'll also explain how being loyal to the U.S. government has put the future of Germany, and Europe for that matter, in jeopardy. This is an important episode for the future of our world. Let's dive in. Today's video is sponsored by Private Internet Access. Stay tuned for an exciting offer from our sponsor. For decades, Germany was Europe's industrial powerhouse, a country renowned for producing world-class cars, household appliances, and chemicals. Since the end of World War II, Germany has enjoyed stability, economic strength, and high living standards. But what we're witnessing today is nothing short of a fundamental shift, a collapse of the Germany we once knew. At the heart of Germany's success was its industrial base. German engineering was the gold standard, and its industries provided millions of high-paying, union-backed jobs. Revenues from these industries funded public services and infrastructure, creating a virtuous cycle of economic growth. To remain competitive, however, these industries required access to cheap inputs, particularly natural gas, which powered factories across the country. Fortunately, Germany's proximity to Russia made it a natural partner. For years, Russian gas ensured Germany's industrial machine kept running smoothly. But with the war in Ukraine, that critical dependence was severed. Before the conflict, 55% of the natural gas consumed in Germany came from Russia. That number plummeting to
I don't care what the U.S. wanted. I would have stuck with Russia for the sake of my people. But unfortunately, these European powers, they don't think like that. Forget everybody else. My people come first. I'm sticking with Russia. I need their oil, and I need their supplies to keep my country strong.
zero has been catastrophic for Germany's economy. Few understood the magnitude of this better than Germany's industrial leaders. In the summer of 2022, Martin Brudermüller, CEO of BASF, the world's largest chemical company, sounded the alarm. He warned that imposing an embargo would have devastating consequences. Do we knowingly want to destroy our entire economy? This would result in the biggest crisis since World War II. The lights will go out and we will see mass unemployment and poverty. His words weren't just a warning. They were a prediction. Today, those dire forecasts are becoming reality. The fallout from Germany's deindustrialization is visible everywhere, echoing what happened in the United States during the decline of the American auto and steel industries. The shells of these former factories and surrounding industries have done little but rust over recent years, and poverty has moved in. Unfortunately, this trend has now begun in Germany. More than 1 in 5 Germans now lives at risk of poverty or social exclusion, and this is increasingly visible in public spaces like train stations and urban centers. Crack cocaine and fentanyl abuse are on the rise, and in 2023, the Federal Criminal Police Office recorded 2,227 drug-related deaths. A staggering.
Okay, that's where I'll stop the video for now. So this is what we're in. This is what's going on in these European countries. Things are falling apart. You will see it happening in America. You already see it with some parts of America is riddled with fentanyl abuse. Okay. New York City, we have people tripping out with K2. All right, that's all I got for now. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Share the information so you're not the only one. And that's about it. Later.